Hi Flosstube, this is Becky, the South Texas Stitcher. This is Flosstube number 9, and today is August 23rd, 2020. I believe it's my daughter-in-law's birthday. Happy birthday to you. I don't think she'll ever watch this, but hey, I said happy birthday to her. It's a balmy day here. It's already up into the low 80s. And I have opened up my house, so I'm going to sit here with my sweet tea and my Southern Lady fan, because, you know, sometimes you just have to open up the house and let it air out. My husband's gone, no one's coming over today, so I can sit in a little bit of warm for a while, so I'll probably let it sit open for another hour or so. That way, anything that needed to air out can air out. Sometimes you walk into a house and you're like, oh, this house has been closed up for a while. I try not to do that. I try to at least every couple of weeks, when nobody's here but me, I will open up the house, turn on the 2 ceiling fans that we have, because I personally hate ceiling fans, and let the whole house blow out through the windows and stuff and refresh the air. So that's what's going on right now. So if I look a little glistening every so often, it's because it's getting warm here. Probably going to be about 100 degrees today. My husband has been activated this morning by the governor, or requested to activate. Let me put it that way. They requested to activate. We have Marco coming this way. Laura is going closer to Florida, I believe. They're talking about it not coming as far west as Texas now, maybe going closer to Louisiana. But you never know. Hurricanes can change their mind. And I think that's why they used to always be named after women, was because they were so changeable. But now we have Marco coming up. So they're activating their rescue center, and hopefully nobody will need it, and everybody will be fine here in San Antonio. And I hope wherever it hits, everybody stays safe. Pay attention to your people, and evacuate if necessary if you're in a low water area. And that goes all along the coast there. I mean, it's going to be crazy. 2 hurricanes in the Gulf at once. It's a, what do they call it? A Fujiwara? I laughed when I heard that. I was like, why do we even have a name for 2 hurricanes at once? Seriously? Excuse me. Sweet tea in Texas. It's a thing. We moved to Massachusetts when my husband was in the military. We were at Hanscom Air Force Base in Massachusetts, near between Concord and Lexington, in Bedford, right outside of Bedford, Massachusetts. And we got there in February of 88. We're from Texas. In Texas, you drink sweet tea every day of the year, period, regardless of the temperature. It can be 20 degrees outside, and we're drinking sweet iced tea. It's just our thing. When we got to Massachusetts and we pulled in, and everybody was tired and exhausted, and at the time we only had 2 children, so they were little, and so we stopped a place to get something to eat, and we went in and said we would like 2 glasses of juice for the kids, and my husband and I want sweet iced tea. And the guy looked and goes, iced tea? And we said, yes, we want 2 sweet iced teas. And he says, we don't sell iced tea. And we went, I beg your pardon. He said, yeah, we don't sell iced tea after Labor Day. And we're like, what? So we had to learn to live with making do. Now, they serve hot tea in Massachusetts during the winter time. So I would order a glass of ice water and a pot of hot tea, which I'm not overly fond of hot tea. I mean, I will drink it on occasion in the evenings if I am not feeling well, but to drink a cup of hot tea just for heebie-jeebies, no. So they would bring me my ice water, and they would bring me the pot of hot tea, and I would sip about maybe a quarter cup off the top of my glass of ice water, and then I would pour my hot tea into the ice water, and then put some sugar in it, and I made my own sweet tea at the table. And they would come by and they would look at me and give me the weirdest looks, but hey, it is what it is. My wedding anniversary is coming up. It's September 3rd. 37 years, woohoo. When we had been married 5 years in 88, we went to a restaurant up there. The 3rd was the day after Labor Day, and we went out to dinner. And I was like 7.5 months pregnant. Very big, and or at least big for me. I didn't get super big like some people do. But we went out to dinner at the very fancy restaurant just outside the base, and my husband tells me, he goes, "We know it's after Labor Day, but my wife is pregnant. Can you bring her some sweet tea?" The guy actually backed up and looked under the table to make sure I was pregnant. So they went and made me a special pitcher of sweet tea just for me. It's like, really? You had to look under the table? Ugh, some people. Anyway, on other things, this past yesterday? No, Friday. Today's Sunday. Friday, we took my mother and we drove down to Rockport, Texas. She had never been. We weren't going to get out and go to the beach just because we want to be safe and everything. So we went down there and we went and had lunch at our favorite restaurant, which is Paradise Key and Dockside Bar and Grill. If you've ever been to Rockport, Texas, that's the place to eat in our opinion. And drove her all around down there because my husband grew up down there, so he knows the area. And so she had never been there. She'd been to Corpus, but she'd never been east to Rockport. And she could see why we enjoyed it so much. And we got out and walked to some of the little shops wearing our mask and social distancing and using the a hand sanitizer where they requested it. And while I was there, I bought some wine because they have a small winery there in Rockport. And it's called Winery by the Bay. And it's got some good stuff there. Had to buy 2 bottles. And then we meandered around and then got back in the car and drove home. So it was a long day, but we enjoyed it. And then yesterday my husband was just sitting at the house. Little did I know, I thought he was playing a video game. Little did I know he was in contact with all the powers that be, that they were going to be doing this thing today with getting ready for the hurricanes. It was like, oh, really? You were on vacation. It was his last day to be actually off. They actually let him off this past week. He hadn't had days off since February, so he needed it. So I'm glad he was able to do that. So he's back at it hot and heavy again. Anyway, this is supposed to be about cross stitch, so let me get into cross stitch at 8:20 into the video. I have an ultimate finish, so to speak, because it's actually professionally framed. I didn't do it. This is a piece I love. I showed this like in my first video where it was just on the fabric hanging out. But this came out great. And the fabric's got a bit of a green tint to it, and so the frame has this little bit of a green patina to it. Our cross stitch store, our local L&S, in August has a frame sale. And so many people have been finishing things because they're staying at home that they actually had to take reservations because so many people were coming in with stuff to be framed. And it's a little crazy when that happens. So I only was going to get one piece done, and I called and said I didn't make it in an advanced appointment. I said, "Do you have any space for just a one-piecer?" And they said, yeah, they did. So I got to go up there and see everybody else. Well, somebody had taken a bunch of frames and laid them on a table, and they had not put them back, which drives me crazy. If you're going to pull something out, put it back if you're done. My gosh, be polite. But in this case, I was glad they weren't polite, because I walked in with my piece in my hand and saw, it was a framing place, so they only had like this much of a frame to show you how it's going to look. And I saw that and I went, oh wow, that's beautiful. And I picked it up and I held it in my hand and I walked to the back of the store and got to the back of the store and held up that one piece and and held up my stitching piece and I said, nope, this is it. I was done in less than 5 minutes because this piece, that little corner frame, it was there. It was like, in the movies with pulling the sword from the stone, the sunlight must have hit it and gone, whoa, because everybody who's seen this has said, wow, that was a perfect picture. This is a Twin Peaks Primitives. It's part of the Santa Trilogy, which now has 4 pieces, which confused me. I didn't do the others, but I only did this one because of the nativity and the reindeer's blanket. I just think that is gorgeous. It's just so beautiful. But that was my ultimate FFO for this time period. As I said, I think I had showed that back in like number 1 or number 2 of my Flosstubes when it was just, here's a piece of fabric with something stitched on it, and I haven't done anything with it yet. I still have a couple of those. I have 3 for sure. 2 of them are needle books, which I have to finish those out myself. One of the needle books, I was so smart. You do something and you're like, I can't believe I did that. I stitched it. My daughter said when I was finished with it, could she have the pattern? And I said, sure, you can have this pattern because I'm not going to stitch it again. And I gave it to her. I forgot to make notes of how to finish it before I should have finished it before I gave it to her, because now I don't remember what it was supposed to look like in the inside. I have a stitched piece and I'm like, well, this is a needle book, and I know I bought the little rings that are supposed to go on the inside to drop your floss and stuff, but I have no idea how they're supposed to be in there, how they're supposed to be attached. Was there ribbons? Was there full wool? I can make one up on my own, no problem. I just was trying to, keep it very similar to what I had. But, oh well. Anyway, I had a pleasant surprise this week. Just going through some stuff the other day and opened up a box and went, hey, what is this? Y'all saw this. I finished this. Y'all saw the little pillow I made. And then I showed you this, the Santa, which no, I have not done yet because I said when I finished the Santa, I would give these away. So I still have the Santa to do. These are old Prairie Schooler business cards. They were advertisements that they used to keep up these cards up at the registers of cross-stitch stores, and you could pick them up. While I was going through my stuff, I came across an Easter one. And I went, I thought I had more. I don't think I ever had more than the 3. But for the life of me, it was one of those deals where I was like, oh, I found it. Yes. It's a little and this one was 2011. Let's see. So it's 2009 and 2010. This was 2011. So I had picked them up 3 years running and I didn't realize it. But that's a cute little egg. And it's done on black. And I think, what is it? It's Russian stitchers that are egg people. Oops, excuse me. Sorry about that. The Russian eggs, I think, are black with bright colors on them. I think I may see if I have a small piece of black to do that on. I know I have some big pieces of black, but I think they're spoken for and I don't want to cut a chunk out of them for something this big. So we'll see. So when I finish these 2, I will give all 3 away together as a set. So that'll be done. Are you done now? Don't give me that look. He's over there looking like the 3rd time's a charm, right? He's trying to get into my video here. Excuse me. Then, I had a question and I can't find it on my Flosstube questions. It may have been on my Facebook, and I can't find the question, or I can't find who did it. And I have gone through all my comments and stuff and can't find it. I had showed 2 bags that I made, and I was asked, where did I get the fabric? Now, I don't know if they were talking about this fabric or this fabric, and I made both of these bags. In fact, I used the same piece of scrap for both of them for the tops. This fabric, my daughter brought to me. She purchased this for her own use. She made some shorts out of it and a little top. So I didn't buy this. I don't know where she got it. It's Alexander Henry or something like that. Anyway, this was a piece of scrap that I made her a bag out of. There's enough scrap to make another bag that I was going to do something for myself so we'd have matching bags. But that I did not buy. So I don't know where you would get that fabric. But I think his name was Alexander Henry. Then this piece of fabric, and I think people liked it because it said Singer all over it in the old-fashioned gold. I bought this 6-7 years ago, and I think I bought 2 fat quarters. I think it was 2 fat quarters, or about half a yard or something like that. Anyway, it was half a yard basically. And I bought this, and I went back to the quilt store that I bought it from, and they have nothing like this anymore. So this would not be an option for me to make if anybody had wanted me to make them a bag similar to this. And I did the cross stitch here on my sewing machine that it's embroidered. And of course I just had a little butterfly zipper pull. But this one, it was just an old piece of fabric that I had on hand. And because it wasn't big enough for me to make anything to wear or anything, not that I would wear something that said Singer, but I didn't have anything else to do with it, so I made a bag. Now, that being said, let me get all this. I have made some more bags. I recently made some bags and took them to my LNS, and they were very kind to me and allowed me to sell them on commission. And it's Stitches from the Heart in San Antonio, and if you have access to there. And these are some I'm going to be taking this week. And I made this one. This one I'm going to put up for sale. And the inside of the bag is the barn red. And I'm kind of perturbed with this one because rodeo up, all these are face up. So I wanted to make sure that the pattern, made sure all the words are right side up. I didn't want upside down words. But it puts the middle piece upside down. And there's that one and that one. So those two were fun, but that one's upside down in the middle of the bag. And I was like, really? And then, of course, the back of the bag, once again, there's that lassoer upside down. So this one's going to be for sale at the Stitches from the Heart. And then this one my husband loves, because this is blue bonnets, a toile blue bonnet with an old farmhouse with just some, Chekhov has visited, with some blue chambray type fabric, an old windmill. And then this one is a fallish colored one. I loved both these pieces of fabric. I was like, ooh, I want those. I was very tempted to keep this one for myself. I'll have to defer them before I take them anywhere. I loved this little... These make me think of ink circles. I don't know if you've ever done an ink circles pattern, but that makes me think of ink circles. So those are done and ready to go. And I will take them out probably tomorrow. I have to go get the allergy shot, so I'll go after that. Now, this is the drum roll section. This is one of the things I've been waiting for since before market. They talked about it. My LNS was going to do these, and then they couldn't get them, so I had to go to the Silver Needle to order this. But I have coming to America. Yay! You're supposed to start stitching on this September 5th when they left, excuse me, Holland, when the Pilgrims left Holland. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I think about this, Neil Diamond's song, Coming to America, starts running through my head, so I may have to go download a copy of that song so I can stitch to it on occasion. I opened it just because I couldn't wait, but I will show you what's in it. Let's see. The cute thing that I just truly fell in love with. Look at that needle minder. She's so cute. The little pilgrim. And then we have, and everything in here is packaged so nicely and in individual little pouches and everything to keep everything nice and neat. When I opened it up, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't touch anything. It's all too neat and I'll mess it up. And then we got the corner gauge of them landing at Plymouth Rock. And then for the back of the piece, when it's finished, a little card to attach. They'll say your name and when you completed it. And I think that's pretty cool. I have to be very careful so I can put all this back in here nice and neat. I almost don't want to stitch it because the box was so perfect. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to, as I said, I don't open it up. Then there's the pattern. And I toyed with my brain. Do I want to stitch this or not? Because to be perfectly honest, I hate words. I hate letters. And it's basically a listing of all the women. Well, not all the women, but most of the women who were on the Mayflower. It is, I love the little ship. The animals in the pattern represent the animals that came on the ship. So that's cool. And I don't know if you can see, but that one's holding an embroidery hoop and that one's holding scissors. Now this pattern is based on 400 years of, I guess you would say, modern needlework in America. Because I agree with Amanda May. If you watch Artist Design Flosstubes, Amanda May commented that needlework did not come to America with the Pilgrims. It was already here because the Native Americans were doing things, but they were not necessarily using that kind of a needle and thread. Also, a couple of years ago, we went on a cruise down to Mexico where I went to the chocolate factory tour. I mean, how could I not go to the chocolate factory tour? My husband went snorkeling or something inane. I went to make chocolate, and before you got to make chocolate, you went to this beautiful little museum. I had never heard of this place. It was great. They had antique needleworks up on the wall. They were gorgeous. Now, I don't know if you've ever paid attention to the dresses and stuff that you can buy from Mexico. They got the big, bold flowers and stuff on it. Yes, that was there. They still have a lot of that. But they also had the fine needlework, like you would see from one of the schoolgirl samplers. I mean, it was little teeny stitches and stuff. And it was like a picture of their village. So where schoolgirl samplers and stuff would have the big house on it with their parents and stuff. This was a delineated outline of the village that they lived in. And these were, well over 100-year-old and stuff. They were beautiful, and the colors were just still bright. So, and I guess due to the tropical nature of where they were located, a lot of needlework and stuff did not last because it just eat your fabric and things. So these are the pieces they have been able to save, and they were gorgeous, and I love them. And I took all kinds of pictures of them, and I found them the other day on a laptop that I was no longer using, and I was like, oh my gosh, why haven't I pulled these pictures off here? So I need to do that. Anyway, back to coming to America. This is the fabric. Now, this fabric, as you can see, it's got a lot of design to it, which I think is really awesome. And to be perfectly honest, I don't even know what this is. I just know it's a 40 count linen. I don't see anything that says it. It's a 40 count linen, and as you can see, it's very long. This is this long, skinny pattern. It is, I should have taken the instruction page out. Vintage Country Mocha by Zweigart. Yes, that's what it is. And the piece of fabric is 12 1/4 by 27 inches, and that's on 40 count. And the and it's 125 wide by 422 high. So the finished size is 6 1/4 by 21 inches high. So it's going to be that big straight up. So, and it's an in color pattern. That's just the color code. It uses DMC, Weeks, Digital Arts, Classic Color Works. Yes. So I'm looking forward to starting this. You're supposed to start it on, what's it say? September 5th. And you're supposed to finish it on the day that they landed in Plymouth Rock area in November. I'm not a fast stitcher. I'm hoping to finish it sometime in the near future. I don't know when. As I said, what I thought was interesting was this side has all this shading and everything. Makes me think of beige camo. This side is naked. There's no design on that side. So it was kind of easy to decide which part to work on there. And then, and they sent you a floss ring. And I have not taken these flosses apart or anything yet. So these are still the way they came. And they came in this little bundle. And this little bundle. So these are the colors. The DMC and the special flosses. I think they're very pretty. And little piece of candy. Also came with a needle. Now, if you follow the instructions completely and do as they say, don't even think about it. Stay over there. He thinks he owns this house. Supposedly, if you do it correctly, if you start on September 5th and finish by November, whatever, there was a special bonus pattern at the end. And I was reading it and it said, stop. No, I'm crinkling things and he likes crinkly sounds. If you finished it in time, there was supposed to be a second pattern that you were supposed to go pick up. Well, I was wondering how they were going to do that since I live in Texas and I ordered it from the Silver Needle in Oklahoma, Tulsa. It came in the box. There it is. Harvest Blessing. The 1621 is over 1. So, and you're supposed to do this on 36 count. I'm not a big fan of over 1 on 36 count because it'll make me go blind. But there is Harvest Blessing. Harvest Blessing, to finish it in this little pillow form, came with the back fabric. It is a piece of fabric that has been printed with the Mayflower Manifest and that is the backing for your pillow. That is just too cool. I'm gonna love doing this. This is when I may actually do this before I do the big one, just because it's so cute. And I don't really have anything Thanksgiving-y to show. And then of course I had a little story on William Bradford and how all this was done. Just a moment. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to put Coming to America back in the box without a gazillion little crunchy sounds for you. And also I needed to find the pattern online for this next one I wanted to show you. This one is being stitched on by Cross Stitch MD Shiloh. She's in I think Nova Scotia. And I laugh because she's working on this and I must have seen it and not paid attention, because I went and bought it, and then I was watching one of her floss tubes and she said she was working on this. I said, hey, that's the one I just got. So let me show you. This is called Southern Land. I don't know if I can do this with the screen. This is called Southern Land from Al Forest Embroidery. It's out of Russia. And that's picking up too much light. There we go. I did not get their colors because it said it was going to be a 4-month waiting, and I didn't want to wait, even though it's not like I had to stitch this today. But of course, they've already started it. And it's reds and blues. So I picked up this piece of fabric, and I don't know who it's by. It's called Custard Cream. I should have written it down on the bag. I keep telling myself to do that, and I have not. But this is 30 count Custard Cream. And those are the colors I picked. They're very close. It gave you the DMC conversions. So I pulled the DMC and then went over to the wall of Fancy Floss and my LNS and matched them. So actually it goes that way. Not that it matters. I mean, I have that much done. Not that it matters. It's the bottom left corner. But I thought those colors just would pop. And it's got the butterflies and the flowers. It's all very floral, and I love the flowers. There's another one called Northern Land. I didn't care for that one that much. But this one is Southern Land, and I love Southern Land. But I wanted to show you that I have started it. I think I may have mentioned it at a prior floss tube, but at the time I just had the download pattern. And I have not been able to print it off like I want to because I'm out of ink, and my cartridges are currently hard to find. I purposely bought a new printer last year that had cheaper inkjet cartridges. Well, I know why they're cheaper inkjet cartridges, because they don't last very long. And it would almost be cheaper to buy another printer. I want to say I spent like $35 on a printer, and I was like, wow, this is a good deal. And when you go back to buy new inkjet cartridges, they're like $30. It's like, it's a $5 difference. I paid $5 for a printer and the rest is all inkjet? Goodness. So that is Southern Land. I think it's lovely. I really want to stitch on that. Then my LNS is carrying a new fabric. And it's Mountain Air or Magic Air. And I feel stupid that I didn't write it down. But I thought it was fantastic fabric. And I bought this is an eighth. I thought I was going to say about a quarter. But this is an eighth. This is called Woodland Halloween. And that is just... Ooh, the sun went in. That is just a beautiful piece of fabric. And it has that gold and the blue and the brown. Because that is definitely not brown. That is gold on top of the brown. That is just a lovely piece of fabric. And I was talking to my LNS, or the shop owner, and she and I were discussing it. And I said, I just don't know what I'm going to put on it. And she says, I'm sure you have something Halloweenish to put on it. And I'm thinking, well, I don't have to put necessarily something Halloween on it, but I want that piece of fabric. So I bought it, and then I was there the other day, and while I was there was another piece, and I went, oh, I want this piece. I went, no, no. I have fabric, I have patterns, I need to stitch them. So I restrained myself and did not buy them, and it crushed my soul. And I still keep telling myself, you need to go see if they still have that piece of fabric there. I'm going tomorrow to take those bags. If that piece of fabric is there, and I don't remember what it was called, but it was a blue and brown. This was brown with blue and gold on it, and the other one is a blue with dark brown and something else on it. But the colors just called to me, and I told myself not to buy it, but tomorrow if I go and it's still there, I may buy it, and I will definitely get the correct name of the company at that time. I'm sorry, I know it's something Air, Mountain Air, Magic Air, or something like that. They had beautiful pieces of fabric. I know people are having trouble getting fabric. I have ordered some fabric for the first time from Bestitch Me. I'm waiting to see how long that takes me to get it. Not that I have the pattern. That one is going to be a new Bella Filipina pattern on Cosmos. Let me see if I can find the pattern while I'm sitting here chatting with you. No, I'll wait. I will show it to you when I get it all together. That'll make it that much sweeter when I finally get it. I have two Bella Filipinas, which I have the fabrics for, and I haven't started either one, and I keep telling myself I need to go and do that, but I have not. I have so many different patterns going right now. I'm not really sure what I'm doing sometimes. I have too many things going, and I keep telling myself I need to stop starting. But truly, starting a new project is like going to the fabric store and touching all the silks and the satins. When I was a girl, we used to just go to the fabric store just to touch the fabrics, because my mother was a seamstress, and she would sew, and my sister and I would walk through the aisles and we would just run our hands through the fabrics because it felt cool. Now I'm pretty sure everybody was like, those little kids are touching our fabric. But it was awesome. I have been working more diligently this week. I know I have stitched on something more than this, but for the life of me I can't remember what I was stitching on. And I know people tell you should make the cards and stuff and the dates and keep track of what you're stitching and when you do it, but I just haven't done it. And when I finish this video, I'm going to have to shut the house up and turn on the AC, because I do believe we're hitting the 90s now. So, oh, no, it says 82. It feels like the 90s. So I've been working on Pandemic. This is where I'm at. This is the bottom left-hand corner. This little flower pot octagon thing was making me a little crazy, because I made a mistake down here and actually had to cut it out because I realized it was going to mess things up. So, you know, if it had been something like over here, like this flower, I could have fudged it, but because it's a perfect piece right here, this shape, I couldn't let it stay. It had to go. I'm going to stitch today here, and I'm going to put the 2 for 2020 whatever. But I have made the final decision not to put 2020, even though I know that's when the pandemic started, and this is pandemic. I went to have the year I finish it in there, and I'm not going to have this finished in 2020. So what I'm going to do is I'll have 22 and then a box to put in whatever number needs to be there. It took me 3 years to do Death by Cross Stitch. I'm pretty sure it's going to take me at least that long to finish this. So it may be 2023 or something like that. We'll see. And I am stitching that with the, this is Access Commodities Squash Blossom with Sulky Threadworks, Sulky 12 weight, and the the thread color is called Redwork. I'm sorry, that's what it's called, Sulky Redwork. And it's got some purple in it, but when you hold it back here, you really can't see the purple, and it changes that red, and it looks so cool. And I'm really enjoying stitching with it, and I love the fact that it's one strand, and the one strand is just being a beautiful piece to work with. It's one of those deals where you start to stitch with it and you go, oh my God, where have you been with all my life? Probably if I had picked a solid red, I could have just gone and done. But because I'm doing it with a variegated thread, I'm having to do, every single stitch. And it's a little more tedious when you do that, because I don't necessarily want stripy lines. So I do take my needle and meander and stuff so that I'm not getting stripes. Now there are a couple places where there's definitely stripes, but for the most part I try to make it meander a little bit. Somebody was talking about that the other day, about how do you not get the stripe look, and I was like, you have to not just go back and forth. That's the key. You just cannot go back and forth. You have to meander all over the place. And like, instead of making a flower and doing, say it's a 8-row flower, it's a little circle with a dot in the middle, instead of going like this, I'll take it and do the first 3 or 4 stitches, and then go up one side, and then come back over here and do this side, and then come up and do the top. That way it looks like a flower, and it doesn't look like somebody took lines and painted it. But that's just the way I do it. I mean, I've had other people saying, oh no, they have to go back and forth, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So that is what I have been working on, is Pandemic. In fact, here at noon, I'm going to be joining the Pandemic Stitch Along held by Sylvia W. She's in California, and we have ladies from the rest of the world who have joined in the States, and I really enjoy talking with them. It's interesting to hear what people are doing, who like to stitch, but they don't have the same time frames. Some people can stitch all day long. I can't. Some people stitch only during the stitch along, which is great, because for a while there, that's what I was doing for the pandemic. But this week I picked it up and was doing a lot more. It just is very fascinating. And you think, you see there's a few of us we see each week. And it's interesting to see whether who has gone and jumped ahead, or who is still on the same, little flower as last week. It's been very interesting. I'm enjoying it immensely. And that's it. In Texas, it's at noon, Texas time. Sylvia is in California. She hosts it, and so it's 10 o'clock in the morning for her. And of course, we've had ladies from the East Coast, and for them it's 1 o'clock. And then we've got the ladies who are in Europe, and it's late in the evening for them. So it's been a fascinating stitch along. I really enjoy it. Really look forward to seeing the ladies this afternoon. I'm looking around. I think that's everything I had. I did make a couple of new needle minders, which I don't have right now. I'll show you, but I don't have them handy right now. I like to make cameo needle minders. I have a cameo addiction. I have a necklace and earrings that are actually hand carved for me. My husband, when he was stationed to Sicily, there was a man outside the base there who was making cameos, and it was funny because most of the guys would walk up and just buy what he had already finished, because they were in gold settings, and in those days gold was not quite as like it is now. And my husband asked him, did he do silver? And he's like, well, yes, but most people don't want silver. And he says, well, my wife doesn't like gold. And it's true. I prefer not to have gold. I don't care for gold. And he said he wanted to know if he could make a set in silver, earrings, and a matching earring and necklace set. And he was like, well, yeah, sure. So he hand carved a special set for me of cameos, and set in silver. And it's a gorgeous piece. I don't wear them very often just because I want them to last forever. It's my heirloom. It's one of my heirloom pieces to my daughters, or at least to my older daughter. My younger daughter cannot wear earrings because her ears fall apart. She's allergic to metal. I guess in a way I'm blessed because otherwise she probably would be pierced, and because she's allergic to metal, she can't do those kind of things. Yay! She's my different child. But now that she's a mom, she's not quite as different as she would like to think. I think that's funny. She's like, yeah, becoming a mom will change you. But we laughed because I've had these silver pieces since 87 is when he was there. He was in Sicily in 87. And in that time period, because gold has gone up so much, people have been getting their cameos done in silver. Well, for a while there, they were difficult to find, so they were very costly. And we would see a set of cameos on a sale paper for some jeweler or something, and he would lean over and he goes, I know those are beautiful. He says, but I can tell you this, yours didn't cost that much. And I was going, I told him once, I said, he has bought me jewelry before it becomes popular so many times, and I said you were ahead of your time. I mean, seriously, you bought jewelry and didn't realize you were buying something that was about to become popular. So when he bought it, it was not very expensive, and then within a year it's jumped up in price. He bought me a topaz ring once that I was with him when he bought it. It was like $150. It's a beautiful ring, and usually I have it on, and I just don't have my ring on today. That same stone right now is going for like $5,000. So I'm like, oh my God, what happened? So, yes, he has been ahead of his time on occasion. But anyway, enough about my strange and meandering world. I will let y'all go. I hope you have a great day stitching. Enjoy yourselves. If you're on the coast, please be careful, hunker down, be safe. If they tell you to get out, get out. That's always been my pet peeve. Don't stay someplace that's going to get you killed. I mean, seriously. We talked about it one time, because my husband is an emergency manager. We talked about it one time about where we would meet up and such if there was an emergency here in the San Antonio area. And I guess we need to redo that, because the house we were going to go to is no longer our family home. It's been sold. So now we would have to find a new place to go to. But I laughed one time because we were talking about that, and I said, if there was an emergency, did he know where he could find me? He said, well, yeah, at the time we'd go to my parents' house. And I said, well, no, I wouldn't go straight there. And he went, what do you mean you wouldn't go straight there? It's an emergency. I said, well, I'd have to come home and get the cat. And he was like, I said, I'll meet you there sooner or later. But he was not amused. But gotta get the cat. I'm sorry. Gotta have to save the cat. Of course, there are days like today when the cat may be left behind. He's an annoying cat at times. But anyway, as I said, y'all have a great day stitching. Enjoy yourselves. Relax. If you have somebody in your family that you can hug, give them a hug. That's been one of the things in our family, is no one can hug each other. We're not a huggy family to begin with, but we do on occasion do that, and now you can't. So it's been more stressful than most people think. Oh, my trip to Hawaii has been canceled. I will not be going to Hawaii in September. Thank you, Governor of Hawaii. Anyway, y'all be safe. Have a happy day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.